Hey, Blue Rockers, welcome to Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis. I'm Connie Willis, but tonight it's Crypto Connie Tuesday. That means I am Crypto Connie. So watch out. Different things come out of me at this point. And by the way, our guest tonight is on a singing rampage, so watch out. You might even hear something like that too. Nothing wrong with that, though. It's kind of cool. So anyway, those of you new here to Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis, this is Earth's most interesting conversations. That includes people, places, and even things. Yep, you never know what that might be. We have a lot of fun here, so for you newbies, you are now officially a Blue Rocker. That is someone in the know and that can do this too. If you can't do this, you got to go because you got to be able to do that. That's our little hello symbol. So just to recap what's going on, we have Crypto Connie Tuesday tonight, working on Wasted Wednesdays for Wednesday night. Thursday is our signature night, and Far Out Thursday, we like to call it that too. That can be kind of a range of anything because that was the opening night of Blue Rock Talk. And then we have Bigfoot Fridays. Not sure if we're going to do that this week. I've been under the weather a little bit, and I've mustered up enough energy for tonight. So we'll see what happens, because on Saturday night it's Coast to Coast I'll be on, and I got to save some energy for that because that's an overnight thing and a lot of fun too. Still working on my first guest, just waiting to hear a reply on some situations going on there. But my second guest is going to be someone that's been here on Blue Rock Talk before, and that is Mitchell Townsend. Excuse me, Peter. Why did I want to say Peter? Sorry about that, Mitchell, if you're watching. Didn't mean to. Mitchell Townsend, he's been here on Blue Rock Talk before with the Blue Rocker Bash that we had. That was pretty cool. He was talking about his pictorial rocks that he found that are kind of tattooed or lasered in. He feels they might be data chips of some sort, and they've got some incredible scenes where you see aliens, constellations, even Noah's Ark, and some really neat things like that. So he sees it as this like library situation, that it's a data chip. So it's really interesting. We'll see what he has as a follow-up on there, because that was quite a while ago when we talked about it. So he's got a lot more information, and I'm looking forward to that. That'll be on Coast to Coast. And then on Sunday, we go back to Stan and his Bible lecture, which is a Sunday school at a college level course. And it's always been pretty interesting too. All of this live with question and answer. And so, let's go ahead and do this. Oh, one other thing. I am just now getting started on Spreaker. I haven't done that yet. That should be iHeartRadio as well. So go to Blue Rock Talk and go ahead and start following that. And as soon as the first one goes up, you'll be there and you'll catch it. All right? So there we go with all the news. I'm trying to figure out how to kind of put all that together at the same time and simulcast everything as well with DTube and DLive. Well, at least DLive, because DTube is recorded. So I hope you guys join us on Steam as well. So our guest for tonight is, it's a little cockeyed there, isn't it? There we go. Let me fix that there. We don't want to get him cockeyed there. Stan Larimer, the Godfather of Bitshares. Let me see if I can't bring him on and be a part of the show. Let's see here. Shift. Boom. There he is. Hey! How are you?
Hey there, Crypto Connie.
Thanks for hanging in there with me. And everybody else that hung in too, we appreciate that you're here with us. This is Stan Larimer, the Godfather of Bitshares, and an extensive background as well. He was singing a little earlier. We'll see what happens tonight. If we say the exact word that triggers him or the exact phrase, he will do it. When that happens, everybody have milk on the rocks tonight, and that's when you take a shot of it. Right? Should I say anything else? I don't know. Do you have your glass of wine with you there, Stan?
No, tonight I got to stay sober because, I have to face the terrible Crypto Connie. But, I've gotten to know
See
you
later, everybody.
I got to know you well enough that I actually sometimes forget myself and start singing. One of the things that way my brain works is anytime I hear a phrase that matches a song I know, it comes out. But it's not going to happen tonight, despite what you may wish.
I've already recorded it. No. No, that's cool. Well, I'm going to do a little aloe water. It's pretty good. Have you had aloe water?
No, actually, I've never even heard of it. It sounds like something that you soapy water out of the sink basin or something.
Well, if you get the wrong one, it will taste like that. This one's got a little white grape flavoring to it. Otherwise, I couldn't do it. It's a very natural one, but yeah, we'll see. It's good. It's supposed to hydrate. So since I'm sick, I thought I would do that. All right. So we got some cool stuff going on. Let me just look over here. I had some problems with my third-party app here. That's why we're running a little late, everybody. And because of that, I just want to check the sound on here real quick and make sure I say hi to everybody. I didn't have everything up as I needed to because I had to keep rebooting. And because of that, I couldn't have some of the things up that I wanted to right away. So you're going to see me going, is that my better side, Stan? Or no, it's this one.
Try turning a little bit more. Face the wall.
See, we're like family now. That's too bad, though.
Well, I will mention something just for your defense.
Go ahead.
Now, I know, most of your audience out there doesn't remember when they covered space launches on live TV, but it was quite common for the countdown to go down to about 10 minutes and then come to a screeching halt. This is Mission Control in Houston. We have a hold at T-minus 10 minutes and holding. And then you'd have to sit there and wait. And it got to be so common that they actually built in a hold at 10 minutes so that they could claim it was normal.
Oh.
So all we did was count down to T-minus 10 minutes and hold until they figured out what the last bug was and got all the red lights to turn off on all the consoles, and then they pressed launch. So that's all you did tonight. You're right in there with all the rocket scientists.
I'll take it. That's, you know what? I was one of those media people showing up there at Cape Canaveral, by the way, and covering a lot of things. Was that when this stuff was going on?
Well, I don't know. You can't possibly have been around back at the days when we were going for the moon, but no. I don't remember it.
So you were a part of the moon?
Oh, at the time they were going to the moon, I was sitting there as a young high school student collecting every article in the newspaper back when that was the only way you could learn anything.
Oh.
There was no internet or anything like that back in the day.
Oh, okay. That was, okay. All right. When did you get into it? Okay, I know you were part of the Mars rover, but what else were you a part of? Or, not like that's not enough, because that's pretty cool.
Well, I hopped around the aerospace industry all over the place, and so I worked for most of the aerospace companies. Most of them were unmanned vehicles that were air, ground, and sea. Mars rover was just the one space vehicle that I got a chance to actually work on in the early design concepts stages. But, teaching at the Air Force Academy, I taught a lot of future Air Force officers all about orbital mechanics and ICBM trajectories and guidance and control and all those cool rocket science kind of stuff.
That is so neat. And we found out earlier today that Stan was living in the Orlando area when I was living in the Orlando area. And who knows, maybe we went by each other at Disney World or Universal Studios or something, or at least Cape Canaveral, maybe.
Well, we were probably looking at the same shuttle launch while it was going up.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, I was with the media, so a lot of times I would go right to where the media was. Remember where the benches and all that were out there? Yeah. But I found out that, and we shot some stuff there. I did a show. It was like Countdown to something. And a friend of mine, we shot a series of stuff where we went inside to a lot of the control rooms and things like that. We had to have special security. That was a blast. But I found out that I had a better view going on the other side of that lake, sitting with everybody else that had the RVs and the trucks. And some of my friends had their truck, and we just put down that back, what is that called?
Tailgate.
The tailgate, yeah. We would sit back there. We'd go to a place called Dixie Crossroads. I don't know if you remember that, in Titusville. They had rock shrimp, and not the rock shrimp that everybody thinks from Red Lobster or whatever. This rock shrimp that was only in that area of the Titusville, around the Cape Canaveral stuff. Who knows? Maybe it was alien or something. But they were really, really hard-shelled rock shrimp because they were so hard. They had to create this guy created and patented a special saw that would cut these shrimp. And then he would cook and pull them apart like little tiny bites of luscious scrumptious lobster bites is what it was like. And you could have it Cajun, barbecue, all these different types of flavors, and you'd get a dozen of them, which, you'd order them by the dozen. So you'd get about 4 or 5 to really fill you up. Oh my gosh, there was always a line there. So we would go to takeout and grab a whole bunch of those. And then we would go to the area, the tailgate, and it would be, the lake would be between us and the shuttle. And you could, whether it was day or night, it wouldn't matter. Once it went up, of course, it looked like daylight, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was just beautiful. But what a great place to sit there and have these luscious, wonderful, wonderful rock shrimp and just watch that go up. We were in style. People next to us had hot dogs or, little bologna sandwiches. We were going in style. People were like, we should do what you did. But it was great. And I hope if you guys ever go back and visit there, go to Dixie Crossroads. Everybody that's close to there in Titusville. It is wonderful, delicious food. And you'll never have anything else like it anywhere. It's a little patent system, and that's the only place where you can get that too. You had to cut it with this special saw. They were so hard. But anyway, that was wonderful. It was better to see it from the lake because you could see the reflection too, right? Instead of the media area.
That'd be great. Yeah, no, I had a completely different perspective. I was about 60 miles away in Orlando, so sometimes we drove over, but a lot of times we just watch it from our backyard. Yeah. It was really cool. You would sit there watching on TV while it was holding because you didn't want to stand outside because there's usually a hold.
Yeah,
and so
this is true.
You watched to make sure it was actually launched.
That's
and when
true.
you saw it light off and lift off the pad, then you ran outside and stood out in the street with all the neighbors looking in that direction.
Yeah.
And then, sometimes it was a minute or so later, it would come, you could hear the windows rattling as the sound waves from that launch that happened a minute ago finally made it to Orlando and started shaking. You could see it start rattling down the street as the pressure wave came through up the street. And then after the sound hit you, then and only then did it actually get up above the trees and you could see it go off and watch it the rest of the way. So that's how we did it.
That's right. Well, when I moved down to Sarasota area in Longboat Key, which is on the other side of the Gulf side, everybody, okay? Know that's where I'm talking, the other side of the state. And down, I could be on Longboat Key and look up and still see it. Even in the day, you would see the light of it going up. That's pretty awesome. That's 2.5 hour, or probably 3 at that point, 3, because it was 2.5 hours to Orlando. Then you had to still get up to Cape Canaveral. So I'd say about maybe a 3-hour drive away, and could still see it. That was awesome.
A 3-hour drive.
See?
There
he is. He did.
Go ahead.
No, the other ones were a little better than that one, but we did know it was Gilligan's Island.
There you go. Some people know. I don't know. It's ridiculous. I teach youth different times, and I'm trying to relate to them, and I'm talking about Star Trek, and they've never heard of Star Trek.
Wow.
And that was 10 years ago. They never heard of Star Trek.
Wow, they're messed up kids. That's all that is.
Yeah, deprived.
The people here watching, they'll know. Yeah, they'll know what you're talking about. I think they're in my age group or your age group for sure. We've got a lot of people in here tonight. Income Mobile. I love Connie, Blue Rock, and Stan. Ryan Stock says, quite enjoyable, folks. Thank you. We just kind of went off on a tangent there because how cool is that? A rocket scientist. We have a rocket scientist. Not only that, but a great Sunday school class teacher on 1 p.m. Last week. And, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that a little later, okay? Go ahead and give us, because he's also the Godfather of Bitshares. So, Stan, give us what the updates are for this week. We'll get into the Crypto Connie mode here. Tell us what we get to look forward to in the future. And, not to be the bearer of bad news, but we are not in Salt Lake City like we were hoping to be.
Yeah, you can't win them all. Unbelievable. We were all, we thought it was a great conference and we thought we did a pretty good job, quite frankly, of impressing the guy that was running the conference and managed to walk off with 3 keynote speaker slots and a panel and everything. And so we thought, wow, with that, we can pretty much describe everything we're doing with that much time for the conference. So we were thinking this is going to be great. We were going to hire some people to come in and videotape what was going on. And we even got Crypto Connie herself on the way to come out there and interview everybody that was going to be there. And we started inviting partners to come by and talk, and potential business partners and investors of different types, and it was going to be great. And then between last week and now, suddenly we got notified by the guys that a major sponsor had dropped out and pulled the funding, and so they were going to cancel the deal. And suddenly, we're scrambling. Well, what are we going to do? We got all these people coming. And, we thought, well, we can still do it and tape it and have a nice show that way. But as it got a little bit further into the week, it was clear that a couple other big players had other conflicts, or had said, that's enough to tip the scale to where I won't make the trip if there's not really a conference there. And it just cascaded into oblivion. So we said, well, we'll do it again when we can plan it and make sure it's well funded and everything ourselves. And so, that's the way it is. We do a lot of things. Us old farmers have this saying about planting seeds and what you should expect. And usually they say one for the worm and one for the crow and one for the mildew and one to grow. So we're out there planting about 4 different seeds and hoping one will come up. But that's what happened to that, and
Bummer.
We'll just
Bummer. Well, I was looking forward to. I've never been to Salt Lake City, and I understand what happened. It's not a big deal. Everything's cool that way. But man, I was looking forward to Salt Lake City. I've never seen it. I was going to go to I was going to do coast to coast from there. Fixed all that, but I wanted to really see, besides meeting you actually in person, we've known each other now for like 6 months or so, I think in October, and it seems like forever. Oh my gosh.
Yes. I'm doing hard time here.
and meet you in person, as well as Michael Taggart, Michael X on Steam, and everybody. But they've got something there called the Crater, which you said you weren't sure of, I think, which is there's this crater area where it's actually covered and there's a hole and you're on the inside, and there's this water there that people go to swim, snorkel, and scuba dive. It's about 90 degrees at all times of the year, and a lot of people go in there and they believe it's like a healing type spa. So you'll see people just lay in there. Anyway, I saw it before a long time ago where people were trying to heal themselves, and apparently it was working. But you can snorkel and scuba dive, and I don't think anybody's ever hit the bottom. I may be wrong on that, but that's right there. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to go see that crater. Oh well, it'll be in the future.
Always too busy working when I go out there. They schedule my day with meetings from breakfast until late night, and so I never get to go sightseeing. But I did see something that was similar to that out there at the resort where we were going to have it. All around all the buildings at this ski resort out there near Park City were essentially hot air blowing down. It was like heated outdoor sidewalks. Okay, the sidewalks weren't heated. Above the sidewalks were the typical hot air vents blowing steamy hot air down, keeping the snow off of everything. And when you're walking down the sidewalks all around this place, it was warm. I said, where do they get the excess energy in order to do that thing? But it's pretty clear to me they're pumping it out of the ground where it's hot and running it through, so they were probably using excess waste heat from the ground in order to do that.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. You know what? It's also like, when you go to Arizona, I think that's the place that I recognized this before. You would be outside or wherever you are, maybe some outdoor eating, and they have these little sprayers of water, and it's so misty and it keeps you cool, but you don't get wet. Yeah. I love all this technology.
Evaporators,
keeping us humans, comfortable. I like that. So, so tell me, we'll get back to there's questions already showing up over here. So let's go ahead and, Salt Lake City didn't happen, but you've got other things to look forward to. So what's in the future here? What do we got going on?
Oh yeah, all kinds of things. Just a quickie, shout out to our friends over in Athens. We're going to be going over there, Michael and I, to visit some Bitshares supporters in Athens area, and they're going to take us around.
Not Athens, Georgia.
Athens, Greece.
Oh, okay, all right. Wow.
They're going to give us a tour of everything interesting to see over there. So I think that'll be cool. And so we'll be doing that in a couple of weeks. But the other thing I thought I'd just mention, we got so many things to go, and a lot of times I like to wait and talk about things when they're already done and accomplished and so on. And I get in a lot of trouble when I'm talking about things that are that might not happen,
that's
like
right.
in Utah or whatever. But that's okay. I've gotten so tired of people complaining about it that I don't care anymore, and so I'm going to talk about whatever I darn well please. And so
Excellent.
One of the things that's really cool that's happening, and once again, no guarantees. We've been asked to give proposals to several leaders of various countries in the third world. And I won't mention any names because that would just jinx it. But I wanted to just talk a little bit about the general concepts. Okay, every one of these leaders in these different countries is interested in doing something to improve life for their people. They would like to stimulate their economy. Okay, and they get a lot of cryptocurrency people coming through and say, well, let us make a crypto coin for you, and that's going to solve your problems. All you need is a new cryptocurrency for XYZ company in Africa or the South Pacific or wherever. And so I thought I'd just, this is my teachable moment. I try to have one of those once in a while. So if you'll pardon me for a minute, I just like to wax eloquent on what are the things you have to think about. If you're really going to write a proposal for one of these countries to use cryptocurrencies to make life better for their people, what are some of the things you need to think about? And so if you'll indulge me, I'll just launch into that. I'm getting a thumbs up, so I guess we will go. Okay. The idea for most people is to say, oh, if I have a cryptocurrency that I could issue to everybody while it's worth nothing, it doesn't cost me anything, and I can hand it out to a lot of people in some country, and then somehow it'll magically grow in value, and it'll increase the wealth of everybody there because it's growing in value. That is really bad economics. And while there's a component to that if you engineer everything else right about it, then it might work. But, you can't get blood out of a turnip. If you're going to create a currency that's only of interest to one country, then the only people buying that are going to be people in that country with the resources they already have. Okay. The only way that currency is going to improve the country is if either it's attractive for some reason for people from more wealthy countries to come buy it, in which case it could go up in value. So if that's going to be the case, you've got to engineer that attractiveness. You can't just go create a coin. So that's one thing. The other thing that can happen is when you start using a global digital currency that's traded on the global market, then you get something what I like to call crossroads economics. And if anybody's ever noticed, how civilizations grow, you start to get little settlements at crossroads where a couple groups of traffic cross. And therefore, because people are passing through that crossroads, somebody puts a general store there and a gas station, and the next thing you know, a couple houses to handle the employees there, and other people start to grow around it. Next thing you know, you got a little town, and then, if it's got enough people doing something, maybe it'll turn into a city and eventually grow out. And that's how it happens, and that happens with entire countries. If you look at the wealthy countries of the world, a lot of times they're pretty much located where there's a lot of crossroads in traffic. And that's sort of, you see it with the Silk Route or the Silk Road that goes clear back to the days of Genghis Khan and Marco Polo and Alexander the Great. And that Silk Route that went from the Korean Peninsula clear across Asia and wound up in Rome was a source of great increased wealth all along the route, and also at the endpoints where it brought all kinds of new products into the two cultures and increased the prosperity on both sides. So if you're going to bring the blockchain into a environment and hook it up in such a way that actually people have access to it, in other words, you need cell phone towers or internet or whatever is needed as infrastructure, you got to have that along with your coin. Interestingly enough, in Africa, most people may not eat every day, but they got a cell phone. And one common currency is cell phone minutes. They pass back and forth among each other as a sort of a digital currency that's not a cryptocurrency, but it functions that way and has gotten to be quite viral and popular in some of those places. So if you've got that type of infrastructure, then you might see the whole country start to function like everybody's at a crossroads, right? The crossroads on your phone. And therefore you can do economic interactions and so on like that. And that's more valuable than the coin itself. And in fact, you don't need a country-specific coin if that's the case. You want to use one of the big ones everybody wants from somewhere that got popular and got valuable. The only problem with that is, of course, those that have already gotten valuable cost money, and you can't give them away. And so you're right back to the whole problem of how do you wire things up so that people can get access to it. Well, along comes something like Steemit. Okay, and Steemit is a technology where people can do something useful, like writing or posting interesting or useful information that they can get a coin for that increases in value because people want it for voting power or whatever. And that way you can kind of bootstrap something that the local people can do. Just to give you an example, what would be a useful Steemit post in sub-Saharan Africa? Well, a post that says, guess what? They got the pump running on that well down the road 3 miles. So you don't have to go 5 miles in a different direction to get water. You can go 3 miles. And someone posts that, and that turns out to be a useful fact. Or notification that there's a Red Cross clinic that's been set up in the next village over. Whatever the information that people would find that would make their life better, they can start contributing in that way. And, of course, being tied into the Internet, independent of digital currencies, gives people the ability to learn more things and turn around and produce more value. And that's another way that you can get people at the crossroads of a new civilization. So that's the big thing you got to bring along with your coin when you're going along. So increased economic connectivity is one half. The other half is decreased economic friction. Right now, so many of those countries over there have middlemen that siphon off all the value. And we got that everywhere, right? We got the banks siphoning off value everywhere, even in the first world countries. But over there, you get a few guys that are controlling the wealth streams, and it basically attenuates the ability for the economy to blossom. So when we put this peer-to-peer kind of system in there where people can do economic interactions with each other, that gets rid of that friction. There's issues of maybe currency instability because of bad government policy, printing money. Of course, we even have that in the dollar. And so you can get more stable currencies. A lot of these countries have hyperinflation going on. And if you can introduce something that doesn't do that, then people will save and build up the capital that they need to start new businesses or do things that will build their prosperity. And so, those are the kinds of things. Oh, yeah, and of course, regulatory constraints too. Governments can't resist putting laws in that get in the way of people's prosperity. All right. So when you have direct peer-to-peer interactions, you can bypass some of that. Of course, that's going to be a battle going on here all along. Right now, we're at risk of losing some of that prosperity because we can't have our regulatory authorities resist interfering, even with things they don't understand. I kind of kid around. It's like a caveman, walking along, carrying a big club in one hand and dragging his woman by the hair behind him.
Hey.
and he comes to a nice Swiss watch laying there on the trail. He doesn't understand a Swiss watch, but he decides, for lack of anything better, he's got a club. Why don't I smash it? Boom. That's kind of what we're facing here, and that's what we're all fighting. But anyhow, regulatory problems can be part of it. Okay, one more little thing, and then I'll stop my teachable moment here. But what you really need to power this kind of growth, more than just the currency itself, is you need something that the nation has that will generate prosperity. And one of the cool things is one of the companies that we've been talking with is a company that does big data, and they have put together a massive resource database that keeps track of all the world's resources and makes information available to anybody that wants to use their application to find out important factors. Right now, what happens is the big countries that have access to satellite data and the ability to mine that data and learn something about it discover that, from looking at the Earth from space with a multispectral imager and everything, they can figure out, there's a vein of gold probably going through there, or some other type of precious metals or rare earth elements or whatever. Then, armed with that information that the local country doesn't have about itself, they go in there and they negotiate something like, hey, if you give us this mountain, we will build a bridge for you. And they wind up getting it super cheap. It sounds like a good deal. Wait a minute, trade a mountain for a bridge? Deal. They just gave away $1 trillion worth of rare earth materials. Okay? So if you couple that with it, so you unlock, there's estimates that Africa has trillions of dollars worth of resources there that are getting gobbled up by people from the outside who know what the local people don't know. But with this new app that gives that information available, they can discover that and then start getting the opportunity to have revenue streams that are coming out of there, capitalizing on their wealth. Now, if you can get past the tendency of the leadership of those different countries to say, great, the wealth that comes out of there comes to me because it gives me power, and then I can pick winners and losers. So it's going to be a hard time solving that problem. But if you really wanted to, as some of these leaders do something good for your people, then you could take the revenue streams coming out of a new mine or some other new resource that you've got and use it to purchase your digital currency that's limited supply and out there being earned by people, doing whatever they do to get a little piece of it. So you make it so people earn it, but it's within their reach to do so by publishing an article on Steemit or whatever. And then you drive the value up by purchasing those coins back, making the supply smaller, and therefore increasing the value of everybody who's saving. And everything that you purchase, you put in savings yourself. And if you have multiple industrial examples of that, taking those revenue streams and purchasing this cryptocurrency, guess what? That currency is going up, and everything that these companies have purchased, that's their little stashes of coins that they've purchased before, are going up in value because now all the revenue streams around the country that are driving that currency up is also driving the value of that. And then when you layer on top of this one final pièce de résistance of what you can do with BitShares, which is to borrow against those stashes of coins you've been buying up, guess what? You are now able to spend and do projects for the betterment of society while you drive up the currency value that everybody's holding and earning. And now you put all that together and you've got a proposal for a government leader that will actually work. So the only reason I told you all that is those are the kind of economic engineering things we're doing, using all the tricks of the trade that we've developed and trying to put them together so that when a government says, what can you do for my country with cryptocurrency, I've got a comprehensive answer and not just let me give you another altcoin that won't take off by itself. It'll just sit there and go nowhere. So that's my little freebie lesson that I'll just throw in there among all our other banter, and people can do with that what they like.
No, excellent. Does all this in turn, and do we have to wait for all this to occur before that little BTS goes from 13 up? How do we get it back up there? You know, that's what's happening, correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been saying that from almost a year now, that the way to do that is to use that process. Okay, and so that's what we've been working with a lot of these different applications. Of course, you see periods of time, like last year we grew by a factor of 200.
Yeah.
Then, we had the great Bitcoin recession, which I told you was going to happen, the great Bitcoin train wreck.
Yes, you did.
2017. I told you that Christmas Eve.
Yes.
So that's done. It's pulled us all down. What are we doing to solve that? Well, we got to get disconnected from Bitcoin, right? Because everything's priced in Bitcoin. And if my coin is worth 10 Bitcoins, and that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that the case yet?
1
okay.
Bitcoins.
Right.
Yeah. It has some value in dollars, and if Bitcoin falls in half, my coin falls in half because it's priced in Bitcoin. I want to get it priced in gold, like our Quintric.com, Quint and Quint S for gold and silver, because those are independent of Bitcoin's fluctuation.
Right.
And if coins are being bought and sold with currency that is priced in a nice, stable, much more stable anyway, denomination of gold and silver, then we can decouple from that. And other coins can grow even if Bitcoin is shrinking. And that's super important because Bitcoin is destined to shrink. All right. And as I've said many times before, Bitcoin's saturated, it's slow, it's ancient technology. It's only successful because a lot of people accept it as a legacy thing that they've learned to use, and so they keep on using it, and it has value. But in terms of its ability to grow and work, our technologies are 2/3 of the total transactions of all currencies, and with EOS coming on, we're going to be at 80%, I bet you, by the end of the year. 80% of all transactions in the world done on technologies created by Dan Larimer. Remember, you heard it here first.
I love it.
With all of that, yeah, we'll get there, especially when some of the other things that I'll be talking about shortly in terms of the what I might call BitShares EOS, for lack of a better name. You could call it BitShares 3.0.
Right. Okay.
You could call it a lot of things, but there's a group of people that are pretty talented that are sitting there working and building a new thing, and just lest anybody worry, their guidance, if you will, or their motto is first do no harm to BitShares.
Excellent.
So nothing they do or build is intended to take anything away from BitShares. It all adds to BitShares and makes BitShares more relevant for the EOS revolution that's about to come out. And so our goal of doing this piece is not changing the original BitShares chain, because so many people have built on it already. Same reason Ethereum really has a hard time changing. Too many apps have been built on it, right? You can't make revolutionary changes. But you can layer on functionality the way we're designing it, so it makes the underlying chain valuable without invalidating people who have built just using the original chain. So it's the proper kind of thing of working your way in a safe layering on of new functionality that never destroys the underlying capabilities people have begun to depend on. So that's something else I can tell you about, or just pay attention, because there's going to be lots of those little leaks coming around, including gorgeous new wallets that we can look at that are much easier to use. And that's part of what's so...
Wait a minute, hold on, everybody! Yay! Because we know you've been wanting to do that. I mean, it's not like you didn't know it was tough and all that kind of stuff. So it's so great that it's finally coming around. It's so awesome.
Well, I haven't had the resources to fund it myself, and the rest of the community hasn't seen fit to vote for doing that sort of thing for whatever reason. There are worker proposals that are paid for to keep maintaining the existing wallet, but starting over and doing a completely new thing, nobody's ever bit that off until this team came along, and they're going at it like crazy. There's a whole bunch of people just with a vision. It's not costing anything yet. I'm trying to get them some money so that they can really go to town, but now just by their own passion, they're taking it on, and they're starting to attract a bigger and bigger group of supporters that want to come in and help. So this is a grassroots effort that is starting to take off, and it's just like planet formation. New chunks, new people are coming in, and it's getting bigger and bigger and more capable. So that's exciting, and you'll just have to watch. If you hear the word bench associated with anything, it probably is hinting at that.
I know Johnny. He's cool.
Actually, I actually put up a suggested poster that had Johnny Bench holding 7 baseballs in his hand.
Awesome. I know.
Each one with the BitShares logo on it. So, yeah.
Oh, I love it. Or you could put, in the future, like BitShares, QUINT, all the different ones that you have. $1 Billion Hero, right? The hero.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think we got enough cool things. We could fill all 7 baseballs.
Yeah, and he's not far from here. Maybe we can wouldn't that be cool? There's your man. There's your man. Everybody loves Johnny Bench. Come on.
Yeah, last time I saw him on TV, he was holding 7 hamburgers in his hand instead, but okay.
I saw that one too. So you do watch some TV, and those of you out there that also do, I have to say this again. I get no money for this, but Silicon Valley on HBO, if you want to know what the crypto people are like, at least to me, from what I'm learning and seeing, watch Silicon Valley. Just reminds me of you guys so much. It's so much like you guys. Everything changes so fast, so quickly, and everybody's talking about nodes and things like that. That's all good. That's all good to hear. I had a great question for you as you were talking about all that, but I let you go and I forgot it already. But this is all very exciting stuff. Darn it. It's one of those things where it was such a good question. It's going to stay on there for a while. But anyway, that's all cool. Oh, I know what it was. People, I'm hoping that you'll be here on Blue Rock Talk when we release those leaks right here. Right? So you're going to release the leaks here, right?
Oh, yes. I always love coming on here. And, Connie insists that I come on once a week and spill my guts just so nothing sneaks by her.
That's right.
So that's what we're doing.
I'm ready for breaking news at any time. He might wake me at 3 a.m. I'll be like, okay, let's just do it. I'll put the hat on and go. Well, we did that in the past with the Bitcoin Latina. It was like, let's go now. Boom. We did all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Ready to do it again. Ready to do this bench thing. I can't wait. Oh, my gosh. I can't wait for that. This is going to be beautiful. And we're talking days, weeks, months?
Yeah.
Okay. But not more than that. Okay. I didn't say years, so I didn't go too far. And that's what I love. Things can happen really quickly here. So good. All good to hear. All right. We have a ton of questions, but I think that we need to discuss one more thing beforehand.
Okay.
All right. Do you think you got out all your crypto stuff?
Yep, I'm done with everything I'm going to leak today.
Okay, are you gonna sing or anything real quick before anything else? You got a little note.
You got the only sample of that you're going to get.
Okay. All right. So we're doing Stan's Bible lecture, 1 p.m. Eastern on Sundays, everybody. And at the end of that, people can ask questions. And you're pretty good about it. Doesn't have to be on that subject. You are cool with if it goes outside of that subject. And you're even okay if somebody says, hey, can I do a BitShares question? All you say at that point is, well, not today, but you can write me if you can't wait till Tuesday. Right? So that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
However, we had a flat earther on asking you questions. Now, they did keep it within the Bible. They were talking about scripture. All right,
totally fair.
Absolutely.
Fair. If you want to talk about biblical evidence for flat Earth, come at me.
He was right on. It was good. There's no question about it. He was right there, and he had a ton of questions, and you were going at it back and forth. And then you were like, okay, let's now. We don't want it to be just totally flat Earth, so maybe we'll do that at another time. So, I think I'm thinking you wanted to say something to that, so I'm gonna just give the mic to you. So you can say what you want to say. I'm going to throw up a little slide for you, okay? So let me just, I'm going to pass it over to you. The baton it's only you that can be seen now. So let me pull up your little thing here too. What is it? Where'd it go? There you go. Okay, it's next to you.
Okay. Now, do I need to slide over so it's got more room?
No, it's okay. It's not too bad. Yeah.
All right. Well, I am happy on the Bible channel to talk about biblical flat Earth issues. and so on. And I did point out one verse from Job that made it pretty clear the earth was known to be spherical, at least by Job, back as early, or millennia ago. But independent of that, what I really wanted to do is to offer a rocket scientist's view of the arguments for flat Earth. Because, a lot of times people can look at verses in the Bible and say, well, God said that the earth cannot be moved, so therefore it's got to be sitting on a stack of turtles and, bolted down so it can't move, so therefore it can't be orbiting. But there's a lot of different things about the earth saying the earth can't be moved, and that would be my simple example. An earth-centered coordinates frame is going to be something that nothing can be moved with respect to as far as humans are concerned, which was what that particular Bible verse was saying. But what I really wanted to do was maybe do a session where I told you all the things that, from a rocket scientist's point of view, make it very clear the Earth is a planet in the typical sense, and that it's just like the other planets we can see and that we have sent space probes to. And there's a whole lot of different scientific things that depend on our knowledge being correct, or we couldn't do them. And I'm going to ignore the people that say this is all one big conspiracy theory and someone wants to deceive us by intercepting every single piece of news or other piece of information that I might share with you, and has somehow hidden that and instead fed us fake pictures of the moon landing and fake pictures from space and so on. And if you think that the conspiracy can extend to where it affects as many people as I'm going to talk about, then you can have your own opinion. But I'm going to show you all the different ways we know that the Earth is indeed round, and that all the other Newton physics and Einsteinian physics and Hawking physics and everything like that tell us exactly what's going on. And so I've got a collection of that, and I'm going to go into the lion's den with you on your Thursday night show, Connie. And anybody that wants to come at me from a scientific perspective on is the Earth flat or round, I'm going to do this just one time. I don't want to turn into a guy that wants to have those kind of arguments all the time, but I will. And I'm going to show things like this picture right here, where you're looking at the picture of the space station in orbit with the curvature of the Earth there. And, of course, people who've been on that space station have gone around and around and around and watched the whole round world scroll by underneath them. And every single one of those little components you see on that big, beautiful space station was designed by teams of engineers who had to take into account all the orbital mechanics in terms of solar heating coming and going in different cycles as the space station orbits and is exposed to the sun from different angles, and all the other things that are taken into account there. So I'm coming at you on Thursday night. I'll take questions of a technical nature. And if someone wants to ask me a biblical question, I'll do that on Sunday.
All right. Oh, my gosh. That's great. Okay, so this is Crypto Connie Tuesday, so it's crypto night. And so Thursday is the far out Thursday, or the signature Thursday, where we can talk about kind of anything and everything at that point. It's kind of miscellaneous. So that's when we're going to talk about flat Earth. So you flat Earthers that are out there that come in here a lot, which I'm not hearing them. I'm not. Usually they're like, but thank goodness for archive if they're not here or they don't show up. Thursday is going to be your night, and Stan will be ready for that. So that's 10 p.m. Eastern this Thursday night here on Blue Rock Talk. If you're just now joining us right now, this is Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis, and it's a Crypto Connie Tuesday. So Crypto Connie here. This is, Stan Larimer, the Godfather of Bitshares here, and we are talking not just Bitshares, but we've got a lot of updates there, but a whole lot of other things too around that. So if you guys have questions, now's the time that we're going to do that. And we have about a minute delay before you guys get to this. So those of you that have asked questions a long time ago, because there's a lot of chat going on, if you asked questions a long time ago, please re-ask that question. And when you do, put them in caps so that I can see them. Okay? Put them in all caps so I can see them. So please ask again. Or if you want to comment too that you want to throw out to Stan, that's fine too. Just put it in caps so that I can see it. That's all. Because there's just too much there. And I'm trying to catch up with everything. But this is good. This is all good though. We're growing. And that's what we want. So one more time again, Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, Stan is going to be on Signature Thursday, Blue Rock Talk. He is going to be taking on the flat earth issue as Mr. Rocket Scientist himself. And then we're going to, on Bigfoot Friday, possibly, that's going to happen. I don't know, I've been a little sick, but I'll be on Coast to Coast on Saturday night, so I hope you'll join me then as well. And then Stan's going to have his Bible lecture on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Is that right? You're going to be there for it?
Lord willing.
Okay, so that is a yes. That is a yes. All right, so let me go to the questions over here. Get ready, Stan. There's a lot. I'm seeing a lot of interesting things, too. Okay. And as I go back real quick, I'm going to answer one. I'm going to ask one of these first ones just because it's right there in front of me. This is by 1-2. Hey, 1-2 is back again. What's your favorite Tom Clancy book?
Ooh, boy, that's tough. Rainbow Six, maybe? It's hard to beat Hunt for Red October. I guess if you really put me into that books, that's what I'll say. Hunt for Red October. The first one I ever read before we went back and read Red Storm Rising. But, then I have to think about it. Now, watching Jack Ryan grow from this lowly CIA agent to where he works his way up through all the levels of the CIA and then winds up becoming President of the United States through all the different books. So we get to those books where Jack Ryan is actually president. And, maybe that. It's hard to say. I loved every one of them.
Oh, that's good to hear. Speaking of hearing, I'm not getting on your case. It's okay. But this keeps hitting your mic.
Oh, it does?
It's pretty noisy. Just saying.
All right. Well,
can you just move it around a little bit, maybe, so it doesn't hit your mic, or move your mic over to the other side?
This is what's all right. I'll set it over here. There. How about that?
Now move around a little bit. Do a little of this. You're still hitting something. I don't know what it is. It's not using the mic on your on this, is it?
No, I checked it before this, and I think it's the big blue mic. If I put it way far away from me, does it do anything? Now am I talking lower?
Yeah.
I bring it here. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that sounds so good.
Okay.
Eat that mic. That's what we would say on air.
Eat that mic. I'll just get right in here. Eat the mic. Okay.
But it's really that is hitting it is what's going on. Pretty noisy. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
It's all right. Just trying to let you know. When you look back, you'll go, "Why didn't you tell me?" Everybody else is being driven crazy. So all right. Miss Cavs fan wants to know, and hello there, by the way. How old is the teddy bear sitting in the background?
I wondered how long it would take someone to ask that question. Congratulations. That is indeed my childhood teddy bear. And once when I was 4 years old and carrying that around the house, and my dad asked me, "Are you going to have that bear with you when you are an adult and all grown up?" And I said, "Uh-huh." And so I'm keeping my promise to my dad. It's right there sitting over my shoulder. Hopefully it'll be with me the day I die.
Oh, let's see it. Is it okay to pull it out so we can?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. As it crumbles in his hand.
A little bit worse for wear there. I had to get a new eye put on him.
Oh, isn't that sweet?
But, okay, thank you, Connie, because it's been up there now for about 4 different shows, and finally somebody asked about it.
Yeah, Miss
Good.
Cavs
Now I can go back to putting Atlas Shrugged up there or something.
Did you name the teddy bear?
Yeah, he's called Teddy.
Yeah, okay. A lot of people just do Teddy. I get you. Income Mobile says, Stan in his blankie, juice cup and teddy bear. All right. And Miss
Yeah,
Cat.
there aren't a lot of people my age that are comfortable holding a teddy bear on top of a video broadcast, but okay.
Oh man, do that again. Hold it just like this. Let me get a good
I know
screenshot
what's
of
going to
that,
happen
please.
now. You're going to post that particular picture on the front of this episode. I just know it. Yeah.
Well,
You always find the worst possible picture of me, and you're going to have me there holding my teddy bear.
Well, the thing is, I'm a part of that picture. I'd rather just have a single of you doing that. So unless you're going to pick it up again, I may avoid that one. But I might still do it. I'd like to. That'll be great. That'll be cute. All right, so I'm going to go kind of backwards on this. Let's see here. There's just so many. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Please ask Stan for an asset name. But for what? I know he was talking about assets earlier. You know what? I'm going to go from the top, bottom, because it's going to screw everything up here otherwise. Okay. Oh my gosh, so many. Thanks everybody for being here. Ryan and John and Tyrone and Mainframe. And okay, let me hang in there with me there. There is a... Okay. No, I did not say eat rainbow shrimp. It was rock shrimp. Okay. This is so funny when you read these things later. You're going to like them. Can you ask Stan, here it is, what name I should register on BitShares next? It's Jez XYZX. Can you ask Stan what name I should register on BitShares next? With a smiley face.
Ooh, yeah, no. I've made that mistake before of announcing something and then going to try to register a name and find somebody squatted on it.
Oh, that's what he's talking about. Okay.
He's trying to get an advantage out of me. But no, I think we'll just let that slide for now.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Oh. And Gary Fries had said that he got married in Salt Lake City in 77 and still married. Do the math. 40 years now. And wow. And
that's when I got married. How about that?
There you go. There you go. So see, there's people your age here. Let's see. I am me. Big fat craters where the gray go walking. You must try and smoke the cactus in the field. Okay. I don't know what some of this is. And Pat Konchak, I'm not sure everything you're writing because it's hiding it. So I don't know if it says I can show it. I'm not sure what that means. Okay. Off topic question. Oh, okay. Off topic. That was the teddy bear. Okay. We're getting to it. All right. All right. Good. Okay. Some people are asking about, apparently in the news, something's going on, and people have asked, are we on the cusp of World War III? So I don't know if you've been watching the news. I haven't. But I think we're about to bomb somebody.
Oh, probably Syria for
right.
Gassing their own people, I bet. I think President Trump did promise some kind of action. Yeah, I don't think he's going to telegraph it, but he kind of probably does have to respond to some kind of a treatment like that. But that's up to him. It's over my pay grade.
Yeah, that's true. Carlos Santa Cruz asked, why do you think crypto is down, and when do you think it will turn around?
Well, there's a lot of theories about that, and oh man, lots of things pushing and pulling on it. I think part of it is due to just a natural retrace after the big blow up growth last fall. A lot of it is being driven down by the government officials throwing a wet blanket on everything and just randomly sending out lots of fear, uncertainty, and doubt about what they're going to do next. And, that hurts everybody. They're supposed to be protecting the investors, and yet they drive down the price by a factor of 2 or down to 50% in some cases by acting precipitously and leaving a lot of things unknown in terms of how will it all shake out. I know quite a few companies who were going to release things in this quarter, and I was bragging about them and talking about them, and a lot of them have pulled back and said we're going to take a wait and see this is too dangerous. And the idea that it's too dangerous to innovate and that you could throw that type of a dark cloud over a thing, is pretty bad. So I think that there definitely is a government effect that is hurting us right now. I'm sure that's not the only reason. Another reason is a lot of people have to sell their digital currency to pay taxes. And so we're going right through peak tax season right now.
Oh, interesting.
And, so I think that's another thing that can do it. And if that's the case, then you should see, as soon as we get past April 15th, that's not the same place everywhere in the world, but in America, you'll see people coming out of that. And now, as they get more money, they start to buy instead of sell, and that puts upward pressure on things. So a lot of people expect there to be a comeback after we get past tax time.
Okay, all right. Never thought about that. 1-2 asks, what makes BitShares special from other cryptos?
Oh, so many things.
And 4 other cryptos. Okay.
Yeah. Well, for one thing, BitShares is just not a coin. It's an entire smart coin factory and a decentralized exchange all put on a blockchain with no middlemen. You can access all those functions. And then, of course, because it doesn't waste all its energy and time on mining, it's got the ability to process things in just a couple seconds, as opposed to could be minutes, hours, or days for all of the old mining coins out there. And the raw capacity to process 2/3 of all the transactions in the world between BitShares and Steemit, both using this graphene non-mining type of technology, without even breaking a sweat, whereas Bitcoin and Ethereum are already pretty much saturated. There are a lot of times when they have a backlog where they can't process all the transactions on time. And so those are special things. Market-pegged assets are special because you can have stabilized currency. And, of course, the QUINT, which is the new gold-backed legal tender, is being on there. You can read all about that at quintric.com. And then I'd say also the BitShares community itself. I mean, everybody's a lot of good communities out there, but you can't limit the fact that an awful lot of third-party companies are building on top of BitShares, and that's what I spend my time doing, is not selling BitShares, but convincing people to adopt it by going around talking to companies and saying, do you really want to be on brand X that can only process 30 transactions per second for the whole world? Or would you like to be on one that can do hundreds of thousands of transactions and with EOS scalable to unlimited number of transactions? Why would you build your company on that just because all the cool kids are hanging out there? And how much longer do you think the cool kids are going to be hanging out on that slow network? And that's my job, is go around basically poke fun at the competition.
I'm just visualizing some things where it's like, well, I'm still going to go over there and be with the cool kids. It's like, well, good. We don't want you anyway. You'll be here because you have to soon enough, right? So Ryan Stock asked, and this is from back in, I think, when you were talking about third world countries. So I think that's what it refers to. How are you going to sell them on tax revenue? Also, are TX cost low enough and fast enough with Steemit to be functional to the extremely impoverished?
Well, that is one of the things that you have to do. I mean, in general, the transaction costs are about as low as they can be already. And, of course, with EOS, there's actually, working towards zero transaction cost, totally different model for how resources are allocated and so on. So I think that problem is being driven as low as possible. But, yeah, I mean, some of these countries are down in the, $1 or $2 a week kind of income levels. And so bootstrapping that is tough. But once again, we come down to the fact that one way or the other, they've got cell phones. I heard one country, Kenya, I think, has 96% penetration of cell phones in terms of people who have some type of a phone. It might be just a little flip phone, but they've got that kind of capability. So the infrastructure is, starting to percolate there. And, of course, in a couple years, the satellite networks that people are planning to put up that'll give us essentially global coverage of Internet means that you don't have to have a cell phone tower in your country in order to still be able to do a transaction as the satellite comes by overhead. So, it's nothing's a panacea. I'm just saying it's for sure not a panacea to go print a brand new coin and give it to everybody and think that's somehow going to make everybody wealthy. My main message was you need to engineer everything. And so your point is very good in saying, yeah, that's another engineering factor that has to be considered when you're trying to bootstrap a whole country using this technology.
He also writes that he thinks Dash or Digibyte were interested in tackling that problem and had an issue with the TX cost being too high.
Ah, okay. Well, every one of those things is an issue that has to be addressed as part of your holistic solution. And if you ignore anyone, you can come to a screeching halt as you go along.
Now, along the way with these questions, if you're just now joining us, this is Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis, Crypto Connie Tuesday, and I'm Crypto Connie, and that is Stan Larimer, the Godfather of Bitshares. We're taking your questions right now. It is live, and we appreciate that those of you that are here, hit that like button. Hit that, as somebody likes to always say, mash that like button, mash it. I like it, mash. That's funny. So Ryan Stock again had said, oh, by the way, those of you, if I see a show or a hide, usually what it is, or if your message is held in review, usually it's because you put a link up there or what YouTube believes is a bad word. So that's why. So a lot of times I can't even see them until much later. That's what that's about. I think Pat was asking what? I think Pat was going, what, the Sam Hill? So Ryan had also put in here, could a cryptocurrency be implemented on BitShares, which had a built-in flat tax on transactions, plus an annual progressive tax on wallets? That may sell better than a currency governments can't touch.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And yes, it can be implemented. There are certain things in terms of, flat fees that are charged for a particular coin that would go to the issuer of that coin. And, if you want to do something more complicated in its structure, then that would need to create essentially a smart coin that does that kind of thing. We've done smart coins that will grow at 5% per year relative to the U.S. dollar. The Hero does that. Yeah. And so in principle, you could come along and define an arbitrarily complex coin. There's been people that have done things that are tracking a basket of currencies as one kind of deal. So worst comes to worst, the government can track that coin and everything about that coin and, basically assess every account holder an arbitrarily complex tax, if they want, on that particular coin. So, those are the many, many options that could be built into that. And that's one of the things I do like to talk to regulators who will listen about, is that this can be a real benefit for them, because whatever rules they do make, whether we like them or not, can be, if necessary, reduced to code and enforced in an absolutely fair and reliable way, as opposed to a hit or miss kind of way with loopholes where some people pay and some people don't. So the ability to enforce the rules out there on blockchains are far better than any other way that's been discovered so far. And I think if they were to work with the community instead of simply trying to hit it with a club, then maybe they would get some of those benefits.
When is it going? When is the madness? Stop the madness. When is it going to stop? I don't get it. I mean, I guess, they just don't want anybody to infringe on what they've already got going. Man, this is all such good stuff here. It's all such good stuff here. I guess it comes down to greed, right?
Or, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Yeah.
Okay. Man. Okay. Well, let's see. Info Planet. Which major country does Stan, you, think will adopt crypto the quickest? Haven't we? Or no? Or China?
Well, the big countries are burdened by the fact that they've got too many hammers and want to use them first. All right. So, no, I think the big countries are going to drive it out of there, and they're going to lose out by denying their citizens access to that. India just banned it all for 1 billion people. Okay. And so, you get that kind of thing. So I think it's going to be some of the third world countries with leaders who have the best interests of their country at heart and are willing to do what's necessary to learn how to use this stuff. So I'm going to say that it's probably going to be one of the countries I'm talking to right now. I don't know which one, but it'll be probably a smaller country that'll start the way and benefit their own people with it, and then maybe other bigger countries will back off over time. If not, they're just going to deny their own citizens the economic boom that could have happened.
Well, I guess you're not going to say that country because you don't want to jinx it.
No, you never want to do that. It's not just for jinxing. Those type of countries could get very embarrassed for me mentioning their name before they've solved all their own issues of political support and everything. Right. So no, I don't kiss it and tell.
All right, I wanted to ding it and go and say okay because I got my little trusty bell here that I used to use in radio a long time ago because I wanted to see if what you have predicted now happens in the end, and hopefully it will anyway without you telling us yet. So 1-2 is asking, have you heard of Arizona's new crypto law?
I know that Arizona is doing stuff, but I haven't looked at it. I've been tracking a little bit of what's going on in Wyoming, but I knew Arizona did something, but haven't had a chance to look into it yet. So I suppose I ought to go learn about that. But I'm very encouraged that the mountain time zone is so far advanced over the left and right coasts.
Yeah.
So that sort of tells you something. The fiercely independent people who don't like big government are going to have the economic advantages, and all the people who, are the most crowded states who want to enforce rules for everybody else are the ones that are leading the charge to get in the way of all this because, of course, you've got to regulate it if it moves, right? If it doesn't move, what's the old Army saying? If it moves, salute it. If it doesn't move, paint it. And something else, regulate it. Something like that. So those are the kind of things we're faced with. The countries that are most populated, for some reason, resort to the most rules. And their culture develops in that direction to where they want to make rules for everything. And the people that get into government there get elected to make rules for other people. And they feel like they need to make rules for anything that they see. But meanwhile, you have the people in the mountain states and flyover country who are saying, no, we're going to make rules to keep those feds out of there as much as possible because, they're interfering with our freedoms and rights to innovate and do things for the benefits of our own populations.
So who are those? That's Arizona, and that's
Arizona, Wyoming, Utah, Texas. That's Central Time, but still, they've got
it fits.
Yeah. So
with what you're saying,
redneck country, I suppose. It's hard to really describe it. Fiercely independent libertarian states. There.
Gotcha. Okay, all right. Let's see. This one was kind of cute. So Income Mobile is asking. I always picture Income Mobile and like bouncing around all the time because he's all over the place here. Ask Dan. I think this is an interesting question actually. Ask Dan how a lemonade stand entrepreneur would use BitShares. So how would not iced tea, not iced tea, lemonade, iced tea. No.
Read the sign. It says lemonade.
Read the sign. It's lemonade.
Well, anybody on that small scale is pretty much limited to. Okay, I'll tell you. If I was a lemonade stand operator, I would probably create my own little coin that was redeemable for a discount on lemonade, and it'd be kind of a promotional thing. Everybody that came by I would not only have my lemonade out there, but I would have a couple signs left and right of it that's talking about use your digital currency to buy my lemonade, or get this now because the coins are going to be good for discounts in the middle of the winter or whatever, And so you could do all kinds of those things for promotions and issue your own little coin for that. Now, here's another example of the ridiculousness thing. A little kid doing that could wind up being accused of doing a security. And next thing you know, a whole SWAT team's going to come down, surround him, and take him out and seize all his lemonade because he dared to offer a little coin that would, be something of a promotion. And you get the people that say that every coin is a commodity or every coin is a security and needs to be regulated. No, there are utility tokens out there. Some things are just poker chips. And I was really pleased actually to see the chairman of the SEC, Mr. Clayton, finally came along and says, well, I may have said a while ago that everything I've seen is a security, but I do agree that a coin can change and that there can be different token types, and a token can change type from one time to another based on changing conditions. I thought that was so refreshing to hear him admit that. So maybe we're on the way to where you can do a lemonade stand and not have the government come in and seize your assets, but we're not there yet.
All right. Okay. Going back to the teddy bear. Someone mentioned Thurston Howell III. He had a little teddy on Gilligan's Island. Remember he had Teddy?
Well, Radar on MASH had one too.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I saw him. Good company.
That's true. Pat Konchak says, I have a baby toy I'll take to my grave. I love it. Okay. So what is InfoPlanet is asking, what's the biggest threat and biggest boost for crypto?
Oh, I think the biggest threat is, without a doubt, overzealous regulators. They can make trouble. Right on the tail of that is big companies getting in and manipulating things. There's so much money sloshing around out there in the existing system that it's possible for them to pump us and dump us to the point where people lose confidence in it. And that's one of the reasons why I like the QUINT, is because since it's backed by gold, it's something you can't pump and dump. And so people can start gravitating to that. And when somebody starts manipulating, they can seek shelter by owning assets that are nice and stable, backed by precious metals. So that would be the biggest threat. Now, boy, this is going to sound self-serving, but I do think that what Dan Larimer is doing with EOS, which, I don't know whether they've said what it stands for yet, but the one I like is Earth's operating system.
I like that too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so if that's in true what it means, that's an accurate description. It's envisioned as an operating system to provide support to build all kinds of blockchains and connect the world. The same kind of revolution that happened at the internet when we were able to suddenly talk to each other. All kinds of different ways applications could talk. Now money can do that. That's revolutionary. And it's not just money. It's transactions and interactions of all types, legal relationships of all types. So all of the stuff that Dan is building into this EOS system is his ultimate vision, and he's got the resources to do it. I don't see anything that can stop him from achieving it. And if the whole Earth has an operating system that is based on multiple, unlimited number of chains with unlimited number of scalability, so to handle all the world's interactions peer-to-peer without a centralized authority. That is absolutely revolutionary, almost equivalent to the invention of fire or the wheel.
That must be cool for you. I mean, not only it's your son, and he's got this idea, and he is, not just that he has the idea, but that he is backed up financially, like unlimited finances, correct, from what you're saying, to do it.
Yeah, he's finally got enough resources. First 2 times around for BitShares and Steemit, he was limited in what he could do. But this time around, he's got enough resources that, I don't think he's going to have to worry about money. He'll just be able to work forever on what he's doing.
How does that feel as the dad? I mean, I mean, you remember him when he was putting his first little stuff together, or maybe tying his shoe for the first time, all that kind of stuff. What's that? How's that feel for a dad? I know you still try to keep it businessy and all that kind of stuff, but
yeah, you gotta feel good when he made a 3-page spread in the Sunday edition of the Roanoke Times with his face on the front of the cover and everything, and all the people around town are talking about it and stuff. Like, you gotta kind of dig that a little bit,
That's cool.
But then you gotta remind him that what he's doing is not exactly rocket scientist to keep his ego down,
Does it work?
No.
No.
No, actually, for somebody as accomplished as he is, he's actually a pretty humble guy.
Good.
I've never really seen him ever brag about anything. Just think about it. Find any case where he's anything other than matter of fact about what he's doing. So
I've never met him, talked to him, or, just seen little glimpses of him along the way. That's it. So to me, he's almost like the man behind the curtain kind of thing. Is he real? Is it just this little, virtual reality Dan walking around?
The early days in 2013, 2014, when he'd get a chance to speak, it would always be in a side room, and he'd be standing up there, and there'd be 23 people, sitting in chairs, very sparse population, and he'd be up there pitching his concepts.
Oh.
And then after that, a year later, when he'd be going places, he'd draw a crowd that would be 30 people deep or something around him wanting to ask questions and so on. I haven't actually seen him in action since he started doing EOS, but I kind of expect now. Well, in fact, I do know. If you look at any of the videos taken from these things, we're talking about auditoriums full of people and big production displays of everything that's going on, and it's big time. So,
excellent.
Yeah, I'd say at this point he's surrounded himself with people who are really good at the non-technical stuff that matches his skills on the technical stuff. So it's quite amazing to watch.
Very cool. I think maybe EOS could be easy operating system for people like me.
Well,
Couldn't it be as simple as that?
You can always hope. I know some of my guys.
I do hope.
Some of my colleagues who are working on upgrading BitShares to take advantage of this technology are in awe of it. Guys I really respect are saying, "Man, I got into that stuff. I don't know. It's unbelievable, and they just spend their time in utter amazement. It's like discovering, I don't know, off-world technology that's somehow been inserted into the into the thing, and they're saying, how can anybody conceive of something like this? So,
and blue rockers want to know. I mean, come on, if you work, you were at these air bases that are really known for UFO stuff.
Right.
Oh, come on, dude. Come on. He's part alien, or he's in with the crowd.
I admit I used to live on Area B at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So maybe something rubbed off.
I know. You would never know. They do a mind zap on you, so you'll never know.
That's true.
Speaking of some people that you respect, Jamie Spademan would like to know if there's any updates on Arise Bank.
Things are kind of quiet right now. I think Jared is a ball of fire. He's just immersed himself in inventing his next big thing, and waiting for the clock to tick off to where they get down to actually dealing with it. But most of the flagrantly wrong and false things that were said about him have been easily dismissed, and in some cases dropped and withdrawn as charges, and now all they're left with is a pretty pathetic set of arguments about whether or not what he was working on is a security. And even if it turns out that his lawyers were wrong, he did the due diligence of having lawyers advising him and trying to construct something that was compatible. The idea that he should have to go through the kind of abuse that's been given to him.
Yeah.
Just because somebody disagrees with it, when the chairman of the SEC himself has said that coins can be this or they can be that, and they can change over time from this or that. What he just admitted was the fact that coins that people are issuing should not be a reason why you raid their farmhouse with a SWAT team in the middle of the night and kick their door in and everything because you disagree with how it worked.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's terrible.
So, the proper thing is if there's a disagreement, okay, let's go ahead and take it to court and settle it like adults instead of settling it like people with a hammer that want to hit somebody.
What if they would have done that to some of the friends I have that, have all these guns? What if they would have pulled one out back on them? That could have been really terrible just for what it was about.
Well, that's what's irresponsible about it, right?
Yeah.
Because certainly a person in Texas who has the absolute right to defend himself. Mm-hmm. And, if you wake a person up out of a deep sleep by kicking in their door, and they do happen to have a gun on the nightstand beside them, and they grab that to defend themselves while they try to wake up and figure out what's going on. And at that time, you burst into their room, with all kinds of body armor and guns. Someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Okay. And to do that on frivolous, made-up charges just drives me nuts. And so, the only thing we can do as Americans is to talk about it on shows like this and hopefully get some people a little bit outraged. But we really need to reel in this. The kind of things that are happening now is ridiculous. I don't know what your politics are, but everybody ought to be horrified about what the FBI did to Donald Trump's lawyer this past couple of days or so.
I haven't been watching, so please tell me. I haven't been watching any news.
Well, I haven't been watching either. I walk by the TV once in a while and see just a little bit of it. It's pretty clear that they seized all the records that lawyer had in his offices and on his person and several places. That's all client lawyer privileged information that's protected by law. And now they're rummaging through it. Okay. And the idea that you can go raid a law office and take all that information and go on a witch hunt is unbelievable. And, they just do it like, stop us. And they can do it to the President of the United States. What are they going to do to poor little Jared? So this, in some sense is good, I think, because if they are willing to do it to the President of the United States, of all things, then maybe some people will start to take it serious and say, do we really want that kind of behavior going on in this country? It's Gestapo tactics, right? It's the old SS. Do you remember Hogan's Heroes?
Yes.
Okay.
Barely.
Anytime those SS officers came along, how did Colonel Klink behave? Terrified. How did Sergeant Schultz behave? I know nothing. I see nothing. I hear nothing. Okay. Do we want Americans fearing their government that bad?
Well, the bad thing about that is it depends on what side you're on, because some people will be absolutely horrified by it and other people will go, oh, yeah, good. Get him. Right.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that if that had been done to
the other side, yeah, exactly,
the other way, right? So
I agree.
We have to get out of this two entrenched camps fighting each other, and recognize that they split us up like that so they could get that kind of power and abuse that kind of power, and half would always like it. Okay, we got to stop liking it when it happens to the people we disagree with, and start saying, I don't want my government doing that anytime to anybody.
Yeah, because, do unto others, that really works. Do unto others. If you think of it that way, of, what you want to happen to you, there you go. That's the best rule to follow.
Yeah, that's the golden rule, and that's something that is a quote terrible. Straight out of Jesus in the Bible.
Absolutely. If you're just now joining us, this is Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis on Crypto Connie Tuesday. So I'm Crypto Connie, and this is Stan Larimer, the Godfather of Bitshares. We're taking your questions now. You had just mentioned Jared is working on something now, and they were asking about Arise Bank. So 2 questions here. First of all, will Arise Bank ever come back again, or has that been so smashed to smithereens that forget that even happening? And because you're saying Jared's working on something else too, will he ever get back to that, or is that what he's got to wait to hear about?
The neat thing about it is, and this is true of any software project, I've coded them myself. You just get about 90% done with a project, and you've learned so much from doing that you want to start over again. Okay. But you can't do that. You got to press ahead and get the product out there, because if you keep starting over, you'll never get done. They came in and stole all the work he'd done for a year and took it from him and denied him right to use it. So what does he do? This is my opportunity to rethink everything and start again from scratch and build something that doesn't use a stick of code from before. Clean sheet of paper, lots of time on his hands while he's waiting for this to get done. And so what does he do? Well, he makes lemonade out of the lemons that they've given him. And so that's the kind of stuff that is actually a blessing in disguise. No, he won't return a stick of that code. They've taken it from him and are apparently trying to sell it to whoever's going to buy it. But the fact of the matter is it's going to be open source anyway. And so they can't understand the concept that what they stole from him, the world could have had for free. Okay, but doesn't matter. That's obsolete code now already. And so, they got nothing from that little dirty trick. So he'll keep inventing, and, if people come by and kick down your sandcastles, you could get mad, or you could quit and pout, or you could be like Jared and, move over to a new piece of sand and start building a new, better sandcastle. And that's sort of what he's doing.
So that's cool. Are you able to tell us what that sandcastle is?
Yes, but I won't.
Okay. Not okay. What?
I think
okay.
that Jared stands to become quite a hero in our community in the next few months. So let's just wait till it naturally evolves.
Yeah, maybe he'll come on here and tell us himself.
Yeah, I would want him to talk about it, not me.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. The comeback kid. That's what he should be called now. The crypto comeback kid, the comeback crypto kid, or something like that. Just the comeback kid. So the money that people put up for a Rise Bank, all that money, where is that now? Did it get to go back to the people? I mean,
no, the government's turned it over to a receiver, which is a law firm whose job it is to so-called protect the assets of the people who put it into the company.
Well, then give it back to them.
Well, no,
no?
Technically, theoretically, they should. Okay. But they always find a reason to string it out and hold on to it. They're going to wind up holding on to that, who knows, for years is their typical track record. And then, by the time it's done, it's been dissipated, and people look at Mt. Gox, for example. There's a lot of people from, I don't know how long ago that was, was that back at the beginning years of Bitcoin anyway. A lot of people lost money. That stuff is all being held by receivers, and people who had those coins there still haven't seen it. Okay, and so I would like to give encouraging words to the people who had stakes in that. But the fact of the matter is, none of those people, by the way, not one of those people wanted their money back or wanted interference, because Jared was giving money back to anybody who wanted it the whole time this was going on. So the only people whose money he had were people who had seen all the discussions and the controversy and still wanted to have their money involved in what he was doing. And now, under the insane excuse of trying to protect those people, they've actually harmed them, because those people's things would have gone up in value.
Yeah.
By now he would have released his assets. It would be trading. People would be excited about it.
Yeah.
Their money would have increased. Instead, they've driven the thing that they purchased down to zero, and with it, the assets that they're holding have gone through a recession. They're worth half what they were before. Okay, and they've denied all those people the right to have sold or gotten something in compensation for it, by seizing it all up and holding it and say, we know better than you how to spend your money, and we're going to hold it until it goes to no value at all.
Yeah, I thought one of the reasons why they did show up at his place and do all this was to protect those people, from him stealing the money. I thought that's what it was, but now that's what they're doing. Then they're the ones holding the money, and
they caused far more damage than they protected. Far more.
Well, I hope it doesn't stop those investors from investing in the future.
Well, it does, because
world.
The money they have right now, they could be moving around, making their own decisions with, and instead it's sitting somewhere where they have no control over it, no benefit out of it, and they have so damaged the name Arise Bank that that'll never get reconstructed. The most they can hope for is to get some of their money back after it's dissipated in value.
Well, I hope that some of his ideas, that I hope the whole idea comes back again, though. That was great. That was a great idea. And all the things he had that he was going to do in that like daily trading thing too. Holy cow. Will we see those things somewhere else again?
Well, I've seen numerous copycats out there saying, thank you for taking out Jared for us. Now we, his copycat competitors, can go implement it separately. But the fact of the matter is anyone that's copying Jared's old code is actually a generation behind. And what Jared is working on now is based upon Jared's skill and insight and vision and passion to succeed in spite of any obstacle. And so anybody who stole his stuff or borrowed his stuff and is trying to copycat it, that's what you want. You want your competitors copying your last thing while you're working on your next thing.
Right. Okay. All right. That was a good question there for sure. It brings out a lot of passion with Stan. You're watching Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis. This is Crypto Connie Tuesday, and that is Stan Larimer with the Godfather of Bitshares there, all that passion coming out. Gary Fries, thank you for asking everybody to upvote, which is really here on YouTube is hit that like button. But he's got that upvote in his mind because of Steam It. And I hope that you can follow myself. I'm there at Blue Rock Talk, and Stan is on there as at Stan. That's simple. He snagged the Stan. No other Stans can be on Steam It. At least like that. So, yes, please, while you're here, please hit the like button. And please share this with other people. And Pat Konchak was talking about, I guess there's some sort of trouble. Yeah, sometimes you'll write something and the word either doesn't work for YouTube or or it's a link or something like that. So they're trying to stop spam as well. And that's where Pat comes in and says, YouTube can eat my shirts. I think maybe shorts, maybe. But then he says DTube Live and DLive, by the way, both of those part of the Steam It blockchain there. And decentralized. And if enough of you guys go over there, that's cool. I'd love to do it on DLive. I think that would be fun. And you can upvote all you want. That would be great. So build up your steam. Let's see here. Let me move this a little bit more here. Let's get some other questions for you. Good stuff. Connie looks like a young Farrah Fawcett.
Oh, there you go. I knew I saw that hair somewhere before. Okay.
Is that 80s? It's thick hair. 80. They probably worked hard for her hair to look like that. Me, it's just thick hair. Use Tresemme. And it works. Let's see. And just blow. And that's, it is what it is. Thank you though. You should start her. Oh, okay. La la la. All right. Jack's goat. What comparative advantage does BitShares have over other potentially upcoming DEXs? So I don't know. Is that said DEXs or DEXs?
Well, we call it DEX, decentralized exchange.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And what prevents new DEXs from overtaking BitShares market?
Well, nothing in principle. I mean, what we look at is, you got to go out and compete every day. It is open source. BitShares is still number one in terms of usage out of anything else, not even coming close in terms of transactions, that it does. And that's generally because you establish a certain network effect in terms of people using it and liking it, and we got a strong community for that. And, of course, the efforts we're doing to take advantage of EOS technology, we recognize the advantage of that more than some of the competitors. And a lot of the people who have spent a lot of their time on other brand X systems, they have to retrain themselves to even begin to understand the technology. Whereas people in the BitShares community at least know about graphene. They have a shorter route to go to get to understanding what Dan's doing and the value of it, and therefore will start sooner. But I think the big thing is just the number of assets like Quintrix, the Quint on there, and the Hero, and different other products that are on there. And when we get done doing some of the new things that are in the works, I think it'll sit there as something that will always be a leader. Of course, the biggest challenge in competition is to the extent that a centralized exchange is able to bring all of its customers with it. They can get some market depth going, and that could become a serious challenger. But then that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll know how to put all the other fancy features that we have in there. They can maybe put an exchange on there, but they won't be able to do the other things that we've got cooking that will become known in due time.
Oh, man. Teaser. So some of the people have asked, are you at all concerned that crypto, could end up or maybe part of the mark of the beast kind of thing coming? Do you think it's the bad thing? Are you concerned about that at all?
Oh, yes. If it ever is allowed to centralize down onto just one cryptocurrency to rule them all, then that would be the perfect thing to implement the beasts. Nobody can buy or sell without the mark of the beast kind of system. And my view of it, though, is that the governments of the world are trying to build that system right now anyway, with or without blockchains. When you see the example right now of every money transmission thing out there requires KYC, AML. Know your customer, anti-money laundering, let's stop terrorism, let's stop fraud, all these boogeymen. But what they're really doing is making it so that nobody can buy or sell without the approval of the beast. That's the world government that is trying to be implemented by people. So the biggest antidote to that is lots of decentralized blockchains. Okay, so that there is no one thing that can be squished out and do it. So that's why I support it. I don't support and don't want even to have BitShares or EOS be the only thing out there. But those are designed to be decentralized and to have many different currencies, many different people building on it different ways, and the ability, if somebody tries to snuff it out, people can turn on a fork of it. And it's just like a multi-headed whack-a-mole. They can whack it all at once. It's just going to pop up in countries that they don't control. And it's our best chance. Okay. The Bible does say that this will happen, but it doesn't say that there isn't something that people can do that might be less convenient, but that allows them to avoid succumbing to that one world government and its total domination of all factors of human life.
Scary stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's scary stuff.
I read the end of the book. We win.
Oh, okay. This is true. You skipped over it now. You went right through it millions of times, I'm sure. So I'm getting questions about this fuzzy guy again who I have no idea who it is, but you guys love him, and I'm open to it. And Pat Konchak has said that he chatted with Fuzzy. He's all in with coming alongside with Stan, just needs time to set it up. So Stan and I are ready. Bring it on. So, and again, tell me who Fuzzy is and about Fuzzy.
Well, Fuzzy's a guy who's been with us from the very beginning. There's no, more mellow, nicer guy. Everybody in the community loves him, and he's got a self-appointed mission to just bring peace and prosperity and unity. And he's got his own whale shares project that is designed to basically make it possible for people to do all kinds of good, to give power to the little guy. And then he holds various get-togethers where there are digital meetups every week on several different topics, on EOS and on BitShares, and I don't know what all else he's got. He's turned himself into a little media empire in his own right, but it's a special kind of niche where he brings together all the leaders of the community and the people that really want to do stuff, and allows everybody to talk about their projects and share ideas and ask questions. So he's been just a very beloved guy in the community.
Excellent. It sounds like it. That's cool. That's excellent. I'd like to share some of those people too, if you all have some of the ideas of people that you guys want to hear on here. I know it's definitely Fuzzy for sure. And you guys have given some other names too. So whoever they are, let me know so we can throw them in too. Remember, I'm pretty still new to it, even though 5-6 months into it, I feel I've learned a ton, but there's just so much more to learn. So please, let's bring them on and help, where Fuzzy's sharing them to everybody. We can help, spread the word too. That would be excellent. I think we're all on the same team here for sure. InfoPlanet is back. What's the biggest reason for you, Stan, to continue your incredible work despite risk like the Arise Bank outcome? And you've had a couple outcomes that weren't all that fantastic.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
he just in the morning he takes a hammer and just hits himself in the head for about 5 minutes, and and there's other things too.
Because it's there. I mean, my wife does ask me that question a lot.
Does she?
Can we just retire and mess with this? And I say, yeah. As soon as I finish everything I'm working on, I don't want to give it up. So and then I do feel that it's allows me to, for whatever it's worth, communicate the issues that are important to me that I want to share with the world. Whatever little effect I can have there. You don't want to hide that under a bushel. You want to let it shine out there for everybody to see. And maybe if everybody did that, we wouldn't have the troubles in the world we do.
Well, I'm glad you're still hanging in there. So don't leave yet. Jamie Spademan, is there a plan B while waiting for better or more clear regulations?
Well, I mean, all you do is you try to comply. I mean, it doesn't do anybody good to violate the rules as they are while you try to change them. So, the main plan is to stay compliant and to work around the impediments that implies. And you can go parts of the world where that can be done and try to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, good luck. No. Brad Mulder, she doesn't look like Farrah, more like Jennifer Aniston. Oh, you know what? Hey, the fight goes on, and those are at least two good names. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'll take them all. Those are nice. Let's see. I guess these are some people for that they're wanting to be here on Blue Rock. Fuzzy, Mark Passio. You know that person?
There's a lot of people who operate under mysterious names, so I may know them by some other handle.
Okay, Andreas, I guess, and Anthony Patch. Okay, all right. Well, we'll see what happens here. So, Anthony Patch and Stan Larimer would make for a great show. Well, those are the suggestions that I want, so that's cool. But now what's going to happen on Thursday is Stan is going to be, I guess, really you're going to be on your own. You're going to be throwing out some slides kind of like you do on Sundays, and you're going to do the flat earth thing. So
yeah, except it'll be just, showing some why somebody like me is pretty convinced experimentally in terms of how the earth is really shaped. So it'll be pure science, and what are all the things out there that depend on this knowledge and this theory that the earth is round, and how that's easily tested and demonstrated in many ways.
I think it's fun. I know some people, I'm kind of just the platform for this one. I have no dog in the fight. I haven't looked into it, thought about it, never thought about it, but I find it interesting what they say on the other side. It's fun. I think it's a interesting argument. I like debates like that, especially when people back it up on all sides. I think I just think it's fun. I think that's going to be very interesting. So that'll be on Thursday. So if you guys want to throw something back at them, and my only concern is they may not think that's powerful enough until you get somebody side by side with you there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I don't mind that, other than the fact that there's only so much of that I can do. I'm happy to share
then you're done.
Some insights of it, but I don't think I want to become known as the guy who's out crusading on that particular cause.
You keep crusading for what you're doing, because we're behind you on that for sure. And Jamie Spademan has come back to say, you're a hero to many of us, Stan. Stay strong. Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. And we did get started a little bit late, about 30 minutes late, because, I'm telling you, and you guys understand this more than anybody out there, but these third-party apps, when Facebook makes a change or Skype makes a change or YouTube makes a change or anybody makes a change, all those third-party apps got to make those changes too. And so there was some problems, and I think I had to update that several times there before it even happened. But anyway, it finally happened. So thanks you guys that stuck around for 30 minutes until... But so did we. Stan and I did too. We hung in there too, right? And kept going so that we could have this show. So I want to thank all of you that did show up. While you're here, please hit that like button. Please hit that like button. I hope that you guys are happy. That helps support Blue Rock Talk and keeps it going. And that's a nice little applause for Stan when you do that. So Stan, before we go, is there anything else that you'd like to say?
No, it's past my bedtime. Thank you, Connie. I appreciate it.
Yeah, let's see. Well, really, yeah, we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. But all right, so we'll see you shortly here. We're definitely going to see you Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern here on Blue Rock Talk with Flat Earth Debate with Stan Larimer. So, and I want to thank everybody else that showed up here tonight and hung out. I really appreciate that. So, Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis, Crypto Connie Tuesday is what you are watching. Appreciate that you guys have been here. Tomorrow night, soon, Wasted Wednesdays will happen. The world of cannabis and other wasted entities. Stan brought up some good points when he was talking about if you're on the Ethereum blockchain, that's Wasted Wednesday. So that was really cool. On Thursday, which is our signature Thursday and our Far Out Thursday, Stan is going to be back on, and he is going to be talking about flat Earth and giving his side from his scientist side of him that he talks about. Then Friday, possibly Bigfoot Friday, but for sure Coast to Coast on Saturday night. Please join me. That's going to be a great time, a great show. You're going to like who I've got on both terms. I can't tell you about the first one. The second one is going to be Mitchell Townsend. You can also find him here on Blue Rock Talk. He is here. Look through for Mitchell with one L, Townsend, and you're going to see a couple of things that he's talked about in the past. Very interesting stuff. I think it's fun, that kind of content where he's found a whole bunch of little rocks. He thinks they might be data chips, and he thinks it might be because they're like tattooed, lasered in type of images where he thinks it might be talking about the history of Earth and other things and telling stories. So I think it's really cool and fascinating. And then back on Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, you will see Stan again. Stan's taking over Blue Rock Talk. Holy cow, might as well be Blue Rock Talk with Stan. That's it, right? That'll be 1 p.m. Eastern. That'll be his Bible lecture. I think that's it. Please join me on Steemit at Blue Rock Talk. Stan is also there at Stan, and even Pat Konchak. All of you, put that down there so we can all follow each other, upvote each other, and do well. Hopefully in the future too, be on DLive. And please start looking for me on Spreaker, putting that together here soon so that we can also get some audio going as well. So appreciate that you guys are all here once again. And look at all the people saying, they're clapping and nice things are being said. Coin Runner, hey, you got here a little late, but thanks for being here. Again, the newbies, thank you for subscribing. You are an official Blue Rocker, and this is our sign to say hello, how are you, and goodbye as well. I am so happy that the numbers are growing with the subscribers, and we appreciate once again you guys being here. I'm not going to say that anymore. We're going to say goodbye now, and I hope that you guys have a great evening, and I'm looking forward to what happens on Thursday with Stan and the Flat Earthers. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.